Good afternoon, everybody. It's a beautiful spring day here in Southern California, and I've been asked to do some size comparison videos for you with the Gladiator. I think a lot of people haven't seen the Rivian on the road, and they're just kind of curious how big it is. And if you've seen a Gladiator, hopefully this will answer your questions. So we're going to just do some basic shots of kind of looking at the two trucks side by side. I've got the Rivian at its standard height setting, and my Jeep has a leveling kit. Okay, so and it's on 35, so the Rivian sits on just about 35s. I think those are 34s. These are 35s. And then the Jeep hasn't been lifted, although it looks that way because of the leveling kit. Now, if you look at it from the side, at the standard height, they're pretty much dead on the same. I mean, I'm just kind of looking at it in real life. I don't know if you guys can see that in the video, but they're just about the same. And then, let's see. The Rivian, right now, the top of the Rivian is a little lower than the Jeep. The beds are just dead aligned, which kind of makes sense because the top of the cab in the Jeep is a lot taller than the top of the cab in the Rivian. I think the Rivian, you just sit a little lower. They're ending at exactly the same spot here. And in the front, the Rivian is about, like I try to align the front of the bumpers, but like if you remove the Jeep bumper, so with the bumper, which is a huge bumper on the Jeep, obviously that steel bumper, with the bumper they're aligned, but without the bumper, I mean, the Rivian is a good 1.5 feet longer. You can look up the stats on these vehicles. I'm not trying to give you like real statistics here. I'm just showing you real life scenario what these look like. I'm going to zoom out, which is going to give it a little bit of fisheye on this iPhone lens, but that's too. And the reason I didn't park them any further back is my driveway tilts quite a bit, and I kind of wanted them to be on more or less a flat surface so you can get an idea. And yeah, I mean, they're very comparable in size, okay? The Rivian looks a little wider, and it is, I believe. The Jeeps are super narrow, which is what makes them a great off-road vehicle. So here's a look at the Rivian. And I could be totally wrong about that, by the way. Maybe the Jeep is wider, but that's just my real life feel of the whole thing. So when you see them on the road, they're very comparable in size. Now that's, again, the Rivian in standard height, which is where you're going to have it most of the time. If you're in efficiency mode, it actually goes down in ride height. So we're gonna show you what it would look like at its highest setting. And let's see. To do that, I'm going to go to all-purpose mode. Actually, let's go ahead and lower the ride height, apparently. And you see I'm going down here. So that's low. And, you know, I still don't really get the modes that it allows me to go low and lowest. Let's see, let's go to lowest, and that's in sport. I don't understand some of this, like why it's the mode that it is. Okay, so we're at the lowest setting now. Let's go take a look at it now, and then we'll put it in off-road mode so we can go at its highest setting. At its lowest setting, it is low. I mean, look at that. It's super low. I mean, like the tires literally get tucked into the well. I do like it at the lower settings. The ride isn't all that comfortable, as you can imagine, in the lower setting, especially when you're making faster turns. You kind of feel like it's going to understeer, and it does. So look at it from the back. That's the low setting. So I guess in this scenario, it looks a little smaller than the Jeep simply because of the height. But then the Rivian can do this. We can go to the off-road mode and then Switch to the highest possible ride height. Still going. Now, one time when I did this, it gave me an error. Kind of feel like it might do that now. Like I hear the compressor going, but the truck's not lifting. And there may be an issue with that. Okay. Only the back? Yeah, so this is like super slow going to the highest setting. Still doing it. We were coming off the lowest setting, so that's a lot to air up. I think it is inching up very slowly. Yep, I can see it coming up very slowly. I did get an error at one time after about a half hour of driving. I tried to put it in its highest mode because I was just kind of testing things out, and it did say that the air pump or the air compressor was overheating, which was not cool. It wasn't like I was doing it back and forth. It was just a one time after a half hour drive. I've already opened a issue ticket with Rivian on that one. It's still lifting right now. This is good though. It kind of gives you an idea how long this process takes. It's not a very quick, lift. And I believe it uses the air compressor itself that you would normally tap into with your hose. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard it's the same air compressor. The car is still lifting. I can see it visibly, but it's like super slow lift. Like insanely slow. Now I've had air ride height control in a couple of other vehicles in the past, and a Range Rover had that, and I've had a couple of Mercedes that have had something similar, and they were quite a bit faster than this. I have a bad feeling that this pump is very small, and it probably will fail over time, given that it's already overheated on me once. But we'll wait for that to happen. Hopefully that's not correct. It's still going. That's why we're not... See, that's still flashing, meaning it's still in progress. Once it's done, it will just go... It will stop flashing. It'll just be at its highest. So we've been at it now for a few minutes, going from lowest to highest. Of course, going from highest to lowest, that's pretty quick because it's just letting air out. I don't feel anything lifting anymore, and it could be just because the back is lifting. I think they lift separately, like they'll do a little bit of the back and a little bit of the front. I have my foot on the brake, and you actually get a pretty good feel for the car kind of moving a little bit when you're doing that. Okay, I do see the front lifting again a little bit, just like millimeters at a time, not quite like a breakneck speed or anything. I'm kind of wondering whether or not I've even had it at the highest yet or not. I may not have. This may be my first time putting it at its highest setting. A lot of dead air, guys. I'm sure some of you are skipping forward to see where this ends up. Man, that's taking a long time. Still going. Oh, finally! Speed limited due to ride height. That makes sense? Okay. Now, we could just kind of go ahead and put it in rock crawl mode. Oh, no, we're not going to. That's interesting, right? When I say rock crawl mode, it actually tries to lower the ride height. I don't understand that either. You would think you'd want to be at the highest setting. Oh yeah, we're definitely high up here now. Look at the amount of space we just gained. I mean, that was literally down here, and now it's up here. It's a good 9 inches or so, and I believe it's like 9.5 inches of travel. So I'll let you guys fast forward and go or rewind and see what happened on the video. in comparing the size side by side. But now it's actually at its highest ride setting. It looks a little bigger to me than the Gladiator. So it can kind of hide its size. At its standard height setting, I think they're just about exactly the same size. But at its highest ride setting, it definitely looks more daunting and beefy. You're never going to ride it at this height, though. This would only be for very specific use case, because it takes like several minutes to get it up to this height, and then your speed is limited. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're probably going to go as high as the high setting, not the highest setting. So it goes lowest, low, standard, high, highest. What was that? 5 settings. So let's see. What other size-related things can I tell you? I mean, all the stats are on their website. You can look those up. But in real life, compared to another vehicle, this is what you're looking at. Yeah, it looks pretty awesome at its highest setting. I wish you could kind of drive it at this height. I mean, I'm not that guy, but this is pretty cool. I gotta say, actually, it looks pretty badass up here. Looks like a real truck that means real business. When it's at its lowest, it actually looks a lot more like an EV. And at standard height, it just looks great. That's all I can say. It just looks fantastic. Now, another reason why I wouldn't want it at this highest setting is you can see my garage doors are super low, and I bet I would clip the top of that. At standard height, I'm pretty well below it. I'm probably like 4 inches below this line or so. But again, my garage door is pretty low. You know, they're getting replaced soon, but even then, we're not really going to change where the frames are. But I'm super happy that it fits in the garage fine, and yeah, it fits about the same as what the Gladiator does, height-wise. But I do feel the excess length for sure. You know, if I look at it from the side right now, yeah, definitely. For some reason, it takes up. I mean, it almost looks like they're with the front bumper. It's the same length as a Gladiator, but it seems like it's taken up a little bit more room in the garage, to be honest with you, just a little bit more. The nice thing with the Gladiator was, even when I pulled it forward, maybe the reason I didn't notice is because this surface here was kind of like still usable. Like if I was working somewhere in the front, I could lay something on top or something like that, which was actually not cool. But yeah, this, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this answered your questions on how big the Rivian is. It doesn't look small, doesn't look big. It just looks exactly what you would expect. If you have any other questions, leave a comment below and click that subscribe button for more Rivian related videos. I'm about to do another one soon on how watertight the truck is, including the tonneau cover. Click that subscribe button. See you next time.